Sure.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everybody, and a warm welcome to yet another monthly webinar series. We have been doing this for many months now. I think this is our seventh month. Earlier also we used to do, but we were not as systematic. But like last 6-7 months, we have been very systematic, and we brought many topics like on talent, on productivity, on leadership. And as most of you know, this is hosted by Crossover Leadership Journeys. We are a 7-year-old company specializing in leadership, especially in a journey model, which means that we don't do any programs one-off in general. It's not that we never do, but we always tell our client that no human transformation can happen overnight. It needs a longer sustained effort. And so if Nisha can put up that one slide that kind of gives you an idea of what is the model like, and this has been the model for last 7 years. So we essentially cater to all the levels within the organization. So you can divide any organization in broadly 4 categories. That you've got your senior people, you've got your mid-level, associate level. For each of these levels, we have got programs, and we look at four facets of leadership: team leadership, self leadership, operational leadership, and organization leadership. So self leadership is the leader's ability to manage his emotions, his communication. Team leadership is how does he manage his team, how does he inspire them. Operational leadership is how does he manage his operating margin, profit and loss. And organization is how does he manage change, how does he look at collaboration. So if you look at, the leader comes out very holistic when he looks at these four facets of leadership. And the way we do it is that every month there is a workshop, and between the month we engage with the participant to apply the learning. So the mentor will send them, and we have Priya as one of our very senior mentor also joining us today. So at the end you can also ask her any question about mentoring. And then we have the article, video, application of learning, and then they come for the next topic. And then we invite the leaders of the organization to come and talk to the participants. So when the participant listen to the leader's journey and his experiences, and then relate that to whatever crossover has taught, it becomes very powerful for them. And then this journey continues for sometimes 6 months, sometimes 12 months, sometimes 18 months, depending on how deep the organization wants to take their people. So the broad, I think I just thought I'll give you a 2 minutes overview on what we do as an organization. And this webinar is a monthly series. We host it under an umbrella called Leadership Chaska. And as I was saying, Chaska is an acronym for Crossover Hosted Association for Knowledge and Skills Advancement. But it also has a Hindi meaning of addiction. Chaska is like Chaska of leadership, and we are really addicted to leadership, and we are very passionate team of people. We are 30 of us in the organization, and do a lot of work across geographies, across industries. We have crossed the 150 client mark recently, so it's been a great journey for us for 7 years. And this month's topic is very interesting, and I have Nisha with us. Nisha is a very senior trainer and very passionate about this topic itself. So it's called networking, and we're going to bring some areas and understanding of what generally we look at as a network. And we have tried to take this topic very deep in some areas, that if you really pay attention to those areas, I think you will be able to better network. And there is a certain amount of pressure that we feel every time when we want to network, and we'll look at, can that pressure be released, and can you start enjoying networking, and not look at networking the way we have been looked at it. So we have taken a very different stab at it. So me and Nisha will work on this webinar with you guys together. And as always, feel free to ask any question, any between. It's not always And we always, like, all crossover sessions are never a download one way, so feel free to keep asking us questions, make it as interactive as possible, so that we can, and typically we run it in such a way that we have about an hour's content that we do conversation, and last 15-20 minutes is usually kept open for any conversation. So we are at 4:10 now, so 5:30 is the time that we usually end the session. Yeah, but I am available with Nisha for another 15 minutes if you want to talk about anything about the topic today, or anything related to leadership, because we also get this opportunity to get more new people, and uh, let them know about the work we do, and if they like our work, they call us for work. And I found Nisha through this webinar series when we are done, so it's a great association with Nisha for a long time. So feel free to converse after the 5:30 webinar also. So as you can see, the title, your net worth is your network, which means, how do you value yourself is more with the network than anything else. Generally, we look at net worth with a monetary connotation, but here we are saying your net worth is your network. Yeah. So Nisha, I think we can get started, and you may want to ask the first question, or maybe if you like, Nisha, you want to briefly introduce and then get started also is fine.
Definitely. So wonderful. I'm super excited and I really feel this as an honor to be, sharing this platform with Yogeshri. And truly speaking, today's webinar so much relates to me, and that's how Yogeshri suggested that, Nisha. I think this is the best topic to begin with. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Yogeshri, for giving me this platform, and a wonderful good evening to all the people. Truly speaking, chaska is the word which tells us that, yeah, we all have this addiction, and that's the reason you all are here. In fact, there are so many people whom I met, during when I was a participant here, and I see those same people here. So I could say that, yeah, we all are addicted, and there are a lot of people who have got that chaska, who cannot leave Yogeshji, and who cannot leave this entire, initiative called as Leadership Chaska. And we all are looking forward to, I believe, evolve as individuals, and every time we want to learn something new. So with this kind of an initiative, it is more like, giving back to the community an opportunity to upgrade, evolve, and learn so much. So this itself is a part of, our program, which sets a great example. So wonderful, a very, very good evening once again to all of you, and let's get started about our topic today. So before we start, discussing about what networking is about and what do you think networking is all about, I want to set a question. I want to ask you all this question with reference to, we all have our own understandings of, what does networking mean to me, and in case if we are here, investing this valuable time, I'm sure there is a purpose, there is a reason behind it. So what is that reason, and to ensure that this few minutes, that almost like these, it's of course a 90-minute session, and these 60 minutes that we are rigorously going to be, having a deep thought process into this. Before we actually do that, we at CLJ Crossover Leadership Journeys is all about relating it, aligning it to what you want to learn, right? So we first want to ask you this question as to what brings you here. Is there one particular challenge that you want to address to? Is there something that you're looking at to learn from this webinar? Any question that you have on your mind, or any specific challenge that you are facing in context to networking, of course. So just freely use the chat window, and more the answers better, because we would be able to address those challenges somewhere or the other during this entire content that we are going to cover. Somewhere or the other we will be able to check as to, okay, this question can be covered in this part of the entire module. So please feel free to use the chat window. We welcome you all to kind of write down maybe a question, a challenge, or anything in particular that you have in mind with what purpose brings you here. So
Okay, okay.
welcome. So please write in the chat window so that
Yeah.
we could take care of it.
Okay, okay.
So I'm looking forward to your answers. So, see, because as rightly shared that CLJ does not believe in one-sided downloading the information, wherein we keep saying something. Of course, a lot of you have already attended our earlier sessions, our earlier webinars. A lot of them are already a part of the CLJ team itself. So we all know that we believe in practical learnings. Yeah. Right. So we have Padma saying to meet great people and to keep the gray cells activated. Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic.
Padma sir is our opening batsman always, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have heard him ask a lot of questions to Yogesh in most of the webinars. So
Yes, yes.
I'm going to have all my ears to you as
Yeah.
well.
And
All right.
Pooja Adhikari, you are our planted crossover member. So if people are asking, you can ask the question.
Totally, totally. Yes, we have Charu, how to network effectively keeping up with the busy schedules. Oh, lovely. That's a wonderful question. Thank you so much, Charu, for asking that. And I'm sure that we will definitely address that. And the last part of that sentence is very important with the busy schedules. So, yeah, we definitely want to address that. Okay, cool. How about the rest of you? Do we have anything in mind? What brings us here? It will be wonderful to hear from you. What brings you here? What are your questions? What are your challenges? Or what are you really looking at addressing to today? Okay, we have an answer. Oh, wonderful. Eden says to understand and learn how to network with people, especially when everything is being operated remotely. Lovely. I love this aspect. Great. Okay, and all right. So Hima says, I'm passionate about this topic, so like to interact at every opportunity. Okay, so Hima, I think you already have that in you because you love to interact with people. So this is not going to be very challenging for you, definitely. All right, and we have Rajesh saying how to network and sustain long-term connections with people. Lovely. All right, would like to understand. Okay, okay, what can we do before even networking? Oh, fantastic, fantastic, Manode. Right, but okay, I really want to. Okay, okay, networking is a double-edged sword. Okay, double-edged knife. Okay, when it becomes a source of business lead generation. Okay, so we are definitely going to touch base on this. I'm sure Yogesh is going to be happy to know this, learning area because we have addressed
Only
this challenge.
Patanjali ये तलवार वलवार नहीं लेके आते वेबिनार में. So
सही बात है सर, इसलिए तो आप वर्चुअल करवा रहे हो आजकल,
क्या
हम
बात
बोलते
है,
हैं.
क्या बात है, बढ़िया. Brilliant. Now this question will get beautifully addressed actually. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And how to network to impress donors. जी चतुर्वेदी जी आपका सवाल मैं बिल्कुल समझ रही हूँ. I totally relate to why you are wanting to understand that. Fantastic. So thank you so much. And for the rest of you, if you keep having the questions at any point of the time which we have not covered, feel free to just text in the moment you have this question in your mind. Okay. And yeah, one last question, Chand Narayan ji. Okay, always interested in Yogesh and CLG insights, which I find very valuable and useful. Okay, okay, fantastic.
Chan himself is such a big trainer, so glad to have him actually. Yeah, very nice. So good. I think inputs we've got, Nisha. Actually, yeah.
Fantastic, great. So I think it's a great start to help us understand as to where do we really want to take this webinar to. What are the areas that we want to address to. So me and Yogesh have built up this content specifically to address most of these challenges. And here's something that we would want to ask you as the first question. Okay, so if you talk about the term as a networking, because these days we keep listening to this word networking so often that we keep wondering that have we really understood the term right, or has it been misunderstood by us. So if we talk about these two terms, that is networking versus connecting, okay, we would love to learn from you as to what do you think are these two keywords. Are they the same? What do you think? If you talk about it, what does come to your mind when you first hear the word networking? Okay, what comes to your mind when you talk about networking? When you hear this word networking, what do you think? Any quick thoughts on this as to when you hear networking as a word, what comes to your mind? Any quick thoughts? Any quick thoughts? Feel free to answer. Any quick thoughts? Anybody? When you hear networking, what does that mean to you? The first.
Purposeful interaction.
Purposeful interaction. Okay, purposeful. Okay, all right. Accepted. All right. Now, if I say this word, connecting, okay, what comes to your mind when you hear the word connecting? What do you think? Rajeshri says networking, okay, touch base with people, okay, and okay, connecting with people, connecting can be short term, okay. All right, so first effort to reach out and connect, okay, okay, all right, agreed.
Networking would be something like having somebody in your, database, or in your LinkedIn, in your professional listing. But connecting would be more like you are connected with somebody more uh, on a personal level, or on a phone call
Beautiful.
or email, something like that. I don't know.
Lovely, lovely. I think you are very close to that, and definitely we'll kind of address this. Yes, so pretty close to it, as you shared that networking could be maybe just is that just connecting. If connecting is more about trying to connect with an individual, is networking just touch basing with people in the contact list? So let's keep that question still in our minds. So yeah, so Harini says connecting is more on the personal front, whereas networking has a professional connotation. Oh, lovely! I love this definition. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, Karan also says networking means give and take, whereas connecting can be in touch without any expectation. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh, beautiful. So give and take. I love these keywords, and you will be glad to know, Karan, that we heard you right before you said that, because we've covered this aspect as well. So lovely. I really appreciate that. Yeah. And super. All right. Fantastic. So now, if the next question. Oh, sorry. So if the next question to us is that if we talk about both of these, okay, say networking versus connecting, let's ask these two questions to ourselves. So say for example, if I say which one is more difficult, is networking more difficult, is connecting more difficult? What do you think? What's more difficult?
Connecting is more difficult.
Connect. Okay. And what do you see more happening around you? Is networking happening more, or is connecting happening more around you? What does happen more?
I guess
I
network.
I feel networking, because connecting is becomes more easy when you are able to express yourself more better.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so does that mean that in networking we are not able to express ourselves well?
See, in networking, you might not know every time the person very closely. You might just add him to your account, but you might not know very closely to him. Connecting is something that you are trying to connect with him for some purpose, or some personal relation, or some professional relation, etc.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, so let us take this as our next idea for pondering upon. That is, if we had to make a choice, if someone is trying to network with us or somebody connects with us, we definitely would agree that connecting is our definitely a preferred choice, and that would be like above networking, right? Because in networking we may not be able to connect with each other, but in connecting we are able to relate to what the other person is saying and go deeper in our conversations, which will take our relationship to probably the next level. Networking could probably be quite shallow in nature, but connecting could have an opportunity to go deeper. Do you agree? Yeah. Okay.
Can it be? Can I say something?
Yeah, yeah.
We network
Hmm.
widely
Mm-hmm.
and narrow down on connectivity where you have like-mindedness or common areas of interest or something to share together.
Correct. Agreed. Totally,
I
totally.
stand corrected if I'm not right.
You are absolutely right. So, of course, the what is important. Okay, whether it is networking or connecting, the what is important. So, if I know that I know this person's common areas of interest, and I know a lot of things about him or her, just knowing about the person and still not being able to connect with the person, that possibility still stays, right? So although during networking I may be aware about a lot of things about that person, about the common areas of interest, but networking could be the stage one. But given networking, if we are able to dive deeper and create that connection, that's going to take us to a second level of relationship. So we are definitely going to work a little more on this. So let's go to the next slide. So in the next slide.
Only Nisha, I want to add to Vasudev is that, see, Vasudev, when we go in this model, we'll also see that, is there an opportunity for us to expand our interest? Because many times we restrict ourselves to a certain interest. So there is a very interesting phrase which says that if you want to be interesting, you have to be interested.
Okay.
I'm going to repeat. If you want to be interesting, you have to be interested. So, and we will look at the possibility of what stops us even from expanding our areas of interest. And from when we go deeper into this topic, we'll also see a joy in going through that. So then it is not a pressure on us. It becomes a very natural, joyful process of networking.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I totally agree with you. But sometimes what happens in LinkedIn, somebody totally not connected with you.
Yes.
With your profession or your activity or something like that, will ask for connectivity.
Yes.
I mean, what do you do at that time? Do you really do that?
No, so I usually,
What do I gain out of that? And it is wasting my time.
Yes. Absolutely. So we will explore that. Yeah. So we will look at our side more than the other side. That where am I going for networking? Yeah. Very nice. Sure.
Great. So we really love, when we have certain different perspectives, and it's always welcome. And I'm sure we're going to address that question as well. When we're talking about social media platforms, we'll definitely be addressing that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you, an interesting picture. Okay. Now we would love to, have you have a look at this picture. Okay. So you'll see there are a couple of pictures here. Now, what comes to your mind when you see, all of these? Are they all examples of networking? Look at the different premise, like maybe the situation is different, maybe the groups are different, maybe the medium of communication is different, maybe the timings are different, maybe the context is totally different. What do you see here? So if there was this question asked to you, do you think a person riding on the bicycle, okay, or when these two girls are meeting suddenly somewhere, is that a part of networking? What do you say? Are they all examples of networking? And is this girl, when suddenly she's talking to somebody who she suddenly met, is that networking? What do you think? Is that networking or that's not networking? Okay. Agreed, Indrajit. Yeah.
Because images may not be sufficient for you to get the background about differentiating between connecting and networking in these cases.
Correct.
Essentially, the first picture definitely says that they are well connected with each other because there seems to be a friends group. And on contrary of the image of what the cyclist image is looking at, that seems like they were known to each other but may not be friends. So now again, it's difficult to say whether they're trying to make friends by being connected or just to say hi, hello. Picture may not be a sufficient medium for us to determine that.
Agreed. So, say for instance, let us take this that, keep aside the difference between networking and connecting for a while. Okay. Let us take this as that, we have now related that, of course, it is all networking. Just that connecting could be a deeper form of networking, but it is networking. Do you agree with me, right? So now let us put this that, okay, if these were really examples, be it networking or connecting, do we agree that these are all forms of networking or connecting? They are all forms of networking, right? So whether it is, just meeting a group of friends, or whether, it is just having a cup of chai in between a break, maybe a business meeting break, or whether it is just meeting a friend who is just cycling around with you, or any other situation, you would agree that we all have these small little opportunities to network with people that may lead to connecting with them. Do you agree? Right?
Yes.
So, given that as a scenario, probably we need to find out that am I really having that mindset wherein I am looking forward to those opportunities. I don't have to actually create those opportunities. Most of the times, those opportunities exist. It's just that certain times I don't really know that, oh, okay, I could have used this time which I spent on checking my emails. Instead of that, I could have, spoken to somebody who was just sitting next to me during the tea break, right? Or, of course, while we are, connecting with people via, say, different social media platforms or via emails, all of these are definitely forms of networking. So, keeping that in mind, let us understand that why do most of us, find this as a challenge to build strong networks. So we relate to this point that, okay, all of these are forms of networking and we can all do that. But still, we are not fully successful to build very strong networks, despite of we knowing that these opportunities exist. So what's your thought process here? If it would be, reflecting back on certain situations and trying to introspect, how good am I in networking, and how would I rate myself if I had to ask, am I really able to build a strong network? If that was a question I wanted to ask myself.
And Nisha, also I want to say this, let people visualize a post-COVID scenario, when you are actually at an event or at a conference, and although I know that I have to build a strong networks, how many people, like how many of us really find it difficult to, despite knowing all that, find it difficult to go and network, or rather connect. Meaning network is like one element. We have also understood the difference between that. So any thoughts on what makes us, like, I'm not talking about the LinkedIn connect that is like just press a button and the invite goes. You're talking about when you're meeting people in person.
Yogesh, there are two factors I can think of. One is our own inhibition. Second one is, are we willing to stay invested with that particular mechanism of connecting with each other, networking with each other? The level in which I would consider both these areas of staying invested and the limitation of my own inhibitions, I think that's the fundamental key to see how far I can grow my network.
Absolutely. In fact, what is that is bang on.
बहुत बार हो जाता है ना सर, कोई सूट बूट वाला पहनने आदमी मेरे जैसे गवार के सामने, तो मैं डरूंगा ही सामने जाके बात करने के लिए.
Very nice. Absolutely.
I am only surprised. Is networking need-based, or for, you should have enough time to network with all people connected, all people relevant?
Vasudev sir, my 2 pennies on this is that networking is probably seen as a future, as an investment for future. Maybe मुझे कल के लिए कुछ चाहिए होगा, तो I better be connected with this person. So that's where the essential factors of networking more on the professional forum comes into picture.
Very right. I totally agree with you.
So we will see how much of what Patanjali, Vasudev, you are agreeing is something that has to be kept that way, or is there a new point of view that we can start building?
Yeah, Yogesh, I have a point of view.
Yeah, please, Emma. Yes.
So I think one of the reasons, and I've come across this very often, is why people are not able to build strong networks is they go in with the objective of, literally it's, hi, hello, this is the work I do, can you give me business? And that's a total put off when it comes to networking. Yeah. And I've literally seen that happening in forums where people give their, they've met people for the first time, they've given their business card, and I can talk for the training fraternity. They say, hi, I work in the leadership space, so do you think there's some possible association? You don't ask that right up front. That is something which comes to you after a lot of give. So I don't know, if I remember rightly, there was this podcast where this LinkedIn influencer Gary Vaynerchuk was talking about networking. He says it's like a boxing match. You know, in order to win, you're constantly punch, 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 punch. So that's what it is. Networking, if you look at the positive side, it's a lot of give, 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 give before you receive. And unfortunately, we get the equation wrong.
Emma, bang on. I think very nice word. But I think right now, even
Yogesh, Navade here.
Yeah, sure.
So to me, actually, networking and connecting pretty much goes hand in hand. And what I aspire at least, and where I struggle is uh, uh, forget about the professional aspects of it, or forget about the whole give and take transactional based aspects of it. But in general, trying to find like-minded people who may have common interests, hobbies, or even professional inclination in some ways, right? To see how can you expand your universe, how can you know what's going around in the world, maybe in your personal area of interest as well. But just to know something good that is happening, which may be of interest.
Yes. So Manu, absolutely so even before we get there, Manu, the challenge is that many a times, and I can give you one of my very good example. One of our partners who I met at a Thai event, the Indus Entrepreneur event, and I vividly remember that and while I'm teaching this and me and Nisha are doing this, I myself was very hesitant to go and talk to this individual, and we were like the lunch at the dinner had just started, and we were just the two people to be picking the plate because we both wanted to actually leave early, and we both actually were hesitant to talk to each other, but then I really gathered the courage and spoke to him, and today it's been 3 years, and he's like our fantastic partner on NLP side, which is doing phenomenal work on that. Now I'm thinking that if I had not spoken that day, I would have missed such a wonderful partnership. And the biggest challenge we are, so there are, what Hema said is that there is one way to get out of that, fear that what do I talk? So the best way is to give my card and then quickly, just ask. And if there is a conversation around the work that I do, then I can talk. And that is what we want to completely get out of from this session, that model itself we have to not really consider anymore. And why that happens is the next slide that Nisha wants to bring it up, that why do we really find it difficult to go and talk to somebody first? So Manoj, the interest part will come later, but even many a times I have seen hardly people make the effort to go and talk to people. And I think what stops us from a conversation is all about the fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of being judged. What Hema is saying is something that has been experienced by many people. So now if next time, even before I go, I will say that will these people also think that I'm coming for work? Because hundreds of people gone to that person for work.
And bang on, yes.
Yeah. So ये जो अपना जो approach है, that itself we want to challenge today.
Yes.
We want to really challenge that, because that has become a regular, and many a times the conferences are losing out on this wonderful opportunity of making even a bigger game for ourselves, because we are very worried to talk to anybody. They are worried that if I go and talk to him, what will he think? So both are not talking, and when they're not talking something that will actually start with connecting. Networking comes much before the connecting. So after you connect, you can decide whether you want to continue to network or not. But you can't just network and connect. The other way around. You have to connect first and then think about network. Isn't it? And this fear, actually, if you look at, Nisha, comes from our childhood. So if you look at the way we have been brought up, so the way, so if my sibling, my surrounding, my city where I am been brought up. I think Indrajit has a question. Indrajit has raised the hand. Indrajit, please.
Hi, Yogesh. Thanks for that. Actually, maybe I'm just jumping the gun, but I was just keen to understand, I've personally faced this challenge often that I'm able to have that first conversation, but then, and often it happens with LinkedIn Connects where you've connected with them, but then you struggle to find a meaty opportunity to continue that conversation. So, I'm quite keen to understand what are the things that we should do, assuming that we have made that first connect. How do we find common ground when it's not very evident, or when the other person probably is still trying to figure out, what are some ways to do that? Would be helpful to understand.
Yes, yes. In fact, we have a very nice model itself, called OLKHANN. You would have seen it in the poster itself, and this model is actually going to drive what you are saying very systematically. And it is not like today's session. Once we go through, tomorrow onwards become very comfortable. The idea is to, I've been in this space for so long, and I can give you the example of the partner that I was speaking about. So I have run this session maybe in Wipro 2007 or 8 also, but even today, after so many years, I had this inhibition of going and talking. But the idea is to give us that model so that we systematically start building ourselves on that area and not lose out on such wonderful opportunities. So we'll cover that. We'll cover that very nicely, and it is all about the preparation in the journey. So we'll go step by step. The first step is not really feeling that I'll get judged. Even if we are right now, we will like let them think. Like Hema, don't worry about that card anymore. They might have had that experience, but we have to not and these are like a mindset issue. And when we do the actual two half-day version of networking, we essentially cover into all the aspects of how do I even process the feeling when I'm in a conference. Yeah, I have seen, like, since I'm in this with, I have seen people, they go to a certain person up to a certain point, and then they take a U-turn to go to some other direction, because suddenly they get this this fear of being judged or rejected, and then they take a different turn altogether. I could visibly see that they're doing that. So if you, and this has to do with quite a bit of our childhood experiences, of our past experiences, not even childhood, sometimes even the recent experiences, which gets stored in our limbic system. So so Nisha, we can show them the picture of our the social upbringing. So this is the model, Indrajit, that I was talking about. So when you look at this, what does this word tell you? Any relevance to this word? Have you heard this word called OLKHANN? What is OLKHANN? Is it an acronym, or what is it?
Yes, I know Gujarati, so I.
In Gujarati it means introduction, meeting.
अरे क्या बात है जैन भाई, मराठी गुजराती में बोलो तुम. In fact, Nisha is from Surat, so absolutely bang on, Jain. Yeah, Nisha, you can maybe talk to them about the next quote that we have on the screen. Yeah. So, yeah, Nisha, you want to describe this quote for the people here?
Definitely. So as you can, as rightly shared that, it's a very famous quote that says, "Your Khan is your old Khan." Wherein, when you're talking about Khan is more like the mine wherein you treasure so much. So it totally reflects the net worth. So the mind, the value of your Khan, that is your net worth, is reflected by the quality of your network. So that's how both of these relate to each other. And I think Yogesh had heard this proverb by one of his clients, relative, who said that Khan is your old Khan, and that's how we actually built around this entire framework, which covers this old Khan and very relevant to how do we actually use it for building and boosting our networking skills. So
I wanted to just share that when when I first heard this phrase, Jayant, in I think a couple of years back, I was in Bombay, and one of my client, he took me to dinner at his home, and his grandmother was 92-year-old, and she has heard about me from the client because this client I've been working for last 3 years, and maybe he's told his grandmother that Yogesh has a good network, and whenever you need any help, he will put people together or he'll help. Yeah, all that. So she said to me in Gujarati that Yogesh, you are a good example of your Khan is your old Khan. So how much people you know. And that day I was telling Nisha that I think there's a fantastic Gujarati proverb, and we can bring it here that your Khan is your old Khan is your network is your network. And that's where.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, so it's very powerful. And now, if you see the next slide, I think Nisha will, walk you through this nice model. And this model, Indrajit, can be a great model for us to, like, you can take a printout of this, you can take a screenshot of this, and if we just follow this model, and me and Nisha have been practicing this for quite some time, and this has really helped us to really overcome whatever we briefly spoke about, and that really is a very systematic model. A lot of work has to be done, although, because unless you do the groundwork first, I think you won't be able to successful. But Nisha can walk you through the model once, and then we'll go a little bit, like, this is not a full 2.5 day session, but we want to give you this whole idea of what this whole model is all about.
Totally. Yeah. So, because, even if you look at this entire model, this model has not just come up, we thought about this word and it came up. In fact, it took more than 3 months to actually work on this and, get it related to the actual challenges that, people like us are facing. If you look at, this model, it would be taking us stage wise, from the first step to the another, and then helping us to reach to a level wherein, that process goes on into a circle, a complete circle. So, talking about, the first thing, so that is opt-in to talk first. So, wherein, opt-in is more about taking an initiative to actually go ahead and make that conversation happen, So, most of the times what happens is that we face the major challenge in first fighting with our own self as to, whether should I not, how should I. So, unless and until, we do not conquer our thoughts right at that moment, we probably will not be able to, move out of that circle of fear that we have within ourselves and then cross it and go ahead and meet someone. So that's the first thing that we really need to, fight back, and that is all the thought processes that go inside our mind, so that we can take an initiative to first opt in. So here, as we go deeper, we'll be sharing with you as to how you can opt in. What are the ways wherein, instead of thinking about waiting for somebody else to actually take an initiative and begin the conversation, we should be the one who should actually initiate and break the ice and start talking. So that's where opt-in would come first. Even if you ask me, while I am Yogi shared about the journey, the way I actually joined CLJT, it was one of these webinars that I was so totally mesmerized with the kind of work that CLJ, that would be the right word, for the kind of thought processes that go in each and every webinar itself, every graphics that they share. So there's so much of depth of knowledge, so that actually made me to attend the webinar as to, if these small little graphics have so much of learnings, what about what would happen in a webinar. So that made me be a participant here. But that was not enough. I actually felt that it was wonderful listening to him, and it really inspired me that, okay, let me give a chance and speak to him. And I planned it in a way wherein I could reach a little early, wherein not all the participants had joined in, wherein I could have an opportunity to at least speak to Yogesh. And that's where the conversation began, and we had some 15 minutes of time wherein we just started talking, and that's how, if I wouldn't have even taken that initiative or tried it out, probably we would not have been in this journey together. So I think in a lot of us must have had these opportunities. If we reflect back, that's where we really need to work upon our inhibitions about facing that fear and take an initiative to opt in first. So that's where the reason I have shared so much in the first stage is because that's where the major challenge lies. Then we move on to okay, we have at least opened up and began the conversation, but how do we lead the conversation, ensure that it keeps going? Because certain times you say a hello and a how are you and some initial phrases that we've all learned how to begin a conversation. Is there some way wherein we learn as to how do we lead the conversation, especially towards a topic or area of interest which is common to both of us? So we would learn actually much more in detail about how to lead a conversation and to be able to lead a conversation with the right components. So knowing about what all should I talk, as to do I have enough amount of content to share with people. So if I have no idea about what's happening around me, if I have no idea about the person whom I'm talking to and what kind of topics would really relate to, so it may not be necessary that you do so much of your homework actually, so that okay, I'm meeting this person and this person is very important to me, and this is what I want to talk to him about. Although I did a lot of homework, Yogesh, to be honest, to learn so much about CLJ, so that given an opportunity, I could actually speak about what crossover does and what has really inspired me. But nevertheless, we come across so many events where we just happen to be around people whom we have never met before. So we would be kind of sharing with you about what kind of know-how would help, the variety of topics that could be covered, which will help us getting deeper in the conversation.
So Nisha, I just want to add here about the same, the partner story that, see, when I first opted first to talk and, took the lead to have the conversation, and what Nisha said happened to me also. Like, I didn't know what to talk after the hello, after maybe, saying that, are you also from Hyderabad and whatever, when did you join TAI and all that. But then the moment you said that, he is into digital content, and I had done some work in the past on digital. So I quickly asked him about certain tools, certain approaches that are you using them? And then I think, looking back, the moment I opened that, to him, he actually was so passionate about digital that we almost spoke for half an hour after that. If I had, if I had no know-how of, how the digital learning works, then I would not have had that conversation. And now it's a cycle, as you can see, right? So how did I know about the digital? Because I had like one more consultant who one day just gave me a demo about how the digital technology works. Yeah. And then I was able to relate to that. So, Vasudev, Patanjali, when we spoke initially about that, and even Indrajit, that, how do you even know how? So sometimes, while we may really be crunched on time and we not have time, but I think this is a mandatory investment that we have to do. In the sense, we have to look for opportunities on when we are seeing certain areas which are maybe surrounding to our own area of work. We should not be away from that, because if we don't really do that part, and as we will come next, which is help. Is essentially, how will you help somebody unless you really have a know-how? So if I know now that, okay, maybe certain people have certain areas and the other party needs that, then I can do that. So for example, Indrajit is a champion on sustainability, and when I first met him, unless I had taken an interest to understand sustainability and what does he do, I don't think we would have had a 5-year relationship today. Yeah. Or for example, Padma, when I first met him, understanding what did he, including his experiences of dealing with N.T. Rama Rao, for example. Yeah. So all that you can know when you start knowing about variety of topic. And if you can see, all this start linking together, because when you start knowing more and more, you're also wanting to opt in first. Because you're then not worried that, what do I do after hello? Because you've got so much to talk about. Yeah. So you'll continue to see a linkage between OLKHANN from beginning till the end, so nicely actually. So helping, and Nisha just complete the framework by saying that if like if you want to help, and when we are doing that, I think you will have to make that effort to help somebody. So that effort has to be there to take a pause and think and tell the other party, hey, let me see who I can connect you with in this particular area. And then that is how you're activating your network. And nurturing happens automatically because when you're activating your network, so if Patanjali has something that he can offer, possibly I'm nurturing also, right? Because then Patanjali remember me, hey, Yogesh ne mere ko usse contact karaya tha. Then he will tell that, oh, whenever there is a leadership thing, maybe let me, call Yogesh for that, because the human reciprocity kicks in. Yeah. And once you have this cycle, you never want to stop your networking. But it becomes fun after some time. Yeah, then you opt in first. You have so many people you can activate. You want to know more about people. You are helping them. You are never stopping networking. You are nurturing your network. So this model of OLKHANN is a circular model in some form, because the more you never stop, the more you have the network. The more you meet people, the more you have knowledge. The more you have knowledge, the more you opt in. Yeah. Hello team, are you guys with us? Me and Nisha.
Yes, we are here.
जयंत ओलखान बढ़िया बैठ गया ना एकदम. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. And then we'll, I think, go a little deep into each of these areas. I know we are, this is just a 90 minutes session. We are already at 5, and I was telling Nisha that we have so much to share. I don't know how much we'll be able to share, but at least the main model we wanted to kind of get you guys familiar with. And it is not at all complex. It is quite easy to follow. It's just that you have to follow this rigorous practice. By the first one, we're going to spend more time on the first one, like opt in first, And Nisha, if you want to talk about why do we not opt in first, and why should we opt in first?
Absolutely. Yes. So basically, as rightly discussed, that each one of us, when we reflect back as to why did I really not begin the conversation, or why did I miss out on this opportunity. So the idea would be certain times that we were expecting somebody else to actually realize that, okay, I'm worth talking to. So did I actually just sit back and wait, or actually took an initiative to go ahead and find out a way for myself? So all it requires is to gather up some confidence, some courage, without thinking too much about what will be the outcome, because if we keep on thinking about the outcome, the more fear is more like you keep magnifying it when you keep thinking more about it. So if you really want to break your fear, if you really want to go ahead and conquer it, you have to face it. And to be able to face it, we need to begin somewhere. So that's what we really need to learn about. And that brings us back to this question, as to instead of having this question about what will others think about me, what if I do not come up right. Many of our learners also mention that even while they are delivering presentations, they have the same fear. And also about when they are trying to talk to people, they have a similar fear. What will others think about me? What if I go wrong? What if people don't accept me? What if they make fun out of me? What if I stammer? So if we keep thinking too much, then probably that will stop us from actually taking the first step. So that's basically about it. So the idea here is that, okay, understood that, fine, no, we understand that these are our fears. So what do we do actually to overcome these fears? So to understand that, there's a very interesting video, and this video that I'm going to share with you, this video we all have experienced somewhere or the other in our lives. Okay, so watch this video carefully, and before I begin, tell me as to what do you see in this video. You must have seen that there is a child who's standing at the bottom of the door. So any guesses as to why is this door, and what's the purpose, and what will happen next? Any guesses? Why do we have this door? What is the purpose of the door? And how will that purpose be taken care of? Any guesses?
Perhaps a child wants to break free.
break free.
Kya baat hai, Harini. Awesome.
Great. All right. So let's see as to, if the child really wants to break free, does that really happen? So I'm going to quickly share this video. So before we move ahead, what do you think would happen next? Let's just give it a guess. Any guess? What do you think would happen next? Maybe.
I think, Nisha, you can play a little bit and let him go up and then stop. Awesome. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Now you can maybe pause. Yeah.
So do you think the child will be able to cross the door? What do you think would happen next? Any guesses? Any guesses?
There is no fear for the child.
Okay.
That is something, no hesitation, no fear. He doesn't even worry that he is going to fall.
Yes.
Right. So what do you think would happen next? Any guesses?
So by nature, he has the confidence that he will crack it. But looks like there is going to be someone who's going to come and say he cannot do it.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I think he's going to lose it after that.
Okay.
That's the mind space I'm just trying to hit upon.
Of course. So let's see how it works.
So Karan says he'll fall down because he doesn't know how to go the other side.
Yes. So let's see if he falls down.
Oh my God.
He won't fall. He will definitely succeed crossing the gate.
Now we feel so.
Yes?
Yes.
Wow. This is a wonderful. He's so happy, eh? Wow.
He's so happy and he's so willing to go ahead and do it again, right? So you would have seen that if the child was actually able to do this, if he had asked herself a question, would this be the first time that he tried? Do you think it was the first time that he tried crossing the gate? No, right? So definitely it must be a couple of times that he must have tried. So when he actually began to take that first step to cross that entire door, what if he had thought that, what if I fall, what if I get a brain hemorrhage, what if I break my bones, what if my parents scold at me, or anything of those negative thoughts? Do you think he would have had that? And if he would have had that, do you think he would actually take this journey? Do you think so? What do you think?
Nisha, I would like to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Do you think the child has taken just as a sport or a playful act to, come over that grill door, or he knows that something is there on the other side, which is important for him, something like the mother must have kept some toffees or something there. Has he done it without any expectation? Did he do it only for a sport?
I'll definitely address that. So if you see that, when he had crossed the gate, he was willing to go back and cross it again. Right?
It's a play.
Which meant that it was that process that he was enjoying of crossing the gate and being able to succeed at that. And you would also agree that when he would have begun, it would have definitely not have begun with the thought that I will not be able to do it, or how huge this door is, or how difficult it is to cross. But he would have thought about how exciting would it be to reach the other side. How exciting would it be to cross this door, which a lot of others think that I won't be able to. So instead of thinking about these barriers, if we focus more on where we want to reach, what would happen if I do not express myself well? What would happen if, what will others think about me? What would happen if this happened? What would happen? So all of these things are probably, stopping us from taking that first step. And that's what we really want to work upon. What we want to work upon is the first thing, that is our mindset. So if you look at this slide, that is I am in the center. But what I think about what I can, how I can actually accomplish something or not. Let us even think about this child. What if this child was, when he was about to take that first step, if his parents would have come, okay, don't do that, you'll fall, you're not allowed to do that, we'll kind of double secure the door. So if there was too much of conditioning, and he would have been stopped from trying anything, especially most of this happens to, most of these things happens to most of us. And that is the first conditioning happens when we are too young by our immediate environment, be it the parents or be it our siblings. They directly get impacted, and then gradually we move on to schools, our friends, and then gradually the work, and then the political system, the economic system. But all of these things, when we are fed with these kinds of, conditionings, with the kind of their thoughts about whether we can or we cannot, that makes us create our own barriers, and that builds our mindset. So there's nothing wrong if, I keep feeling that, oh, I can't do it, so I'm really bad, why do I keep thinking that I can't do it? So that's just because there has been that kind of a conditioning. But the problem here is that despite of knowing that there has been a negative conditioning, if we still sit with that inhibition that, oh my god, I can't, then probably we would die with the same conditioning and we'll never be able to overcome. So here with this webinar, we are trying to kind of help introspect if I'm really having this kind of a mindset which is conditioned because of so many people, so many factors around me, can I do something about it? Is it me who can actually challenge this, or am I going to wait for others to come and help me out? So whether the influence is going to be from inside out, or is that going to be from the outer world to me, that shift is going to make me actually opt in first.
Anusha, I just want to add here is that while you would agree by now that you might not have thought that we will take networking to such a deeper level of thinking, because if you kind of get this out for networking or for connecting, you will start seeing many other aspects of your life getting changed. Because it's not only about opting in first here, you start opting in many other areas of your life. So you will then open up your conversation in an all hands meet, in your management team, in front of customers, because there's one inhibition. So we want to use this one networking session as an opportunity to get many of the things for yourself, because if that happens, then you are making yourself so successful in many parts of your life, using this as a vehicle to get there. Yeah. So if you look at some of the other elements are like the way my physical development. So if you're really very strong built, you have a good height, you also, sometimes have get that confidence in yourself. Yeah. If you look at the cognitive abilities, sometimes I think each one of us have got our own ways of thinking, reasoning, imagination. Yeah. And then the last part, which is trust, fear, confidence, pride. And so all this can make the difference. So if you go further down, you will see that all this matters in our way, the way we think. Yeah. So if you look at and we covered this quite a bit in our regular session, that what happens when we really are not going forward. In that example that I gave you, when I first wanting to talk to my partner that I am now working with, what kind of bodily reaction that we see when we are networking. So in a conference, when you want to go and talk to somebody and you're not opting in first, yeah, and then if you later on regret that, maybe I should have spoken to this person here. I mean, this was one time opportunity that I got. I went all the way to Bangalore and I could not speak to this guy when he was available, free, having lunch or breakfast, and he was all alone. I could have spoken. Then you feel really disgusted about yourself. You get very upset, you get very angry about yourself. So when we look at this heat map of emotions, we are essentially trying to say that these are the ways you can start recognizing, that and we cover in complete detail to get an idea. So in fact, when we do this session, people are so excited to connect this with that. And the important thing when you're opting in is make sure that you're not bringing in religion, you're not bringing in political views, you're not talking about salary for sure, and we're not talking about people of different color or special needs. So when you're trying to opt in, you have to also make sure you're opting out. Yeah. So these are like some of the like very foundational element of connecting networking. And now once you have like started the conversation, you have just went, introduced, and what do you do next? And that is where I think what Indrajit was asking, that how do I lead the conversation? So if you look at some of the other examples of leading the conversation, I was using the 5W hook, like when, what, why, where. It's very traditional. So this is like Nisha loves coffee quite a bit, so she brings in coffee examples many a time. So I think if you opt in for a question about coffee, you can talk about your experience in visiting Kurg for in that matter, or any other country for that matter, because many a times we know about that particular topic, but we have not thought about how we can bring it up. And you can actually, and suppose the other party says that, oh, I have also been to Kurg, fantastic, then it gives you another way to talk about. Or if they say that, I have not been to Colombia, but I have been to some other country where coffee is there. This is how you start opting in, even like as a basic coffee as a topic, and you are trying to maybe get into vacation for that matter. So you are basically starting the hook from that part, and then you can see, I think, couple of next slides will give you an idea of how you can keep the conversation going. Yeah. And if you want to like continue the conversation, and Nisha, I'm going a little faster here because we have less time and we want to cover that up. So if you go further down, and and these are like not difficult things for you to do because you all in some form know this. Yeah. So when you're doing this, what will help you to continue is the interest that we spoke about. So know-how about variety of topics, which means that you have to be, if you want to be interesting, you have to be interested. And as I was talking about that, so bring in this habit of, how do you want to do? So, for example, for many years, and I share this in my sessions, and Manoda is here, who has been my participant. So are many of the other people. That I walk at least 4 times a week, and every time I walk for 45 minutes, I take my either mobile phone. Earlier I used to have a iPod or whatever instrument you want to use, and listen to podcasts. So imagine if I'm listening to at least 2 podcasts every day when I'm walking. So 4 into 2 is 8. 8 multiplied by 4 is 32 in a month, multiplied by 12 in like multiplied by 12 years. So there is so much I have heard that there's so much we can talk. So use that time when I travel. If I'm in a cab from a hotel to hotel airport to a hotel, or hotel to an airport, I use that time. So the whole idea is that bring in your own ability to know how the knowledge. And I think the next we wanted to talk about is, and Hema spoke about, like when people go and they really want to take from somebody else. Now we want to introspect on ourselves and say that, am I a taker or am I a giver? And there is a very beautiful book by Adam Grant called Giver or Taker. I think you all should read that book. And it really clearly says that if we were to be a giver, only then we will continue and build our strong network. So it's an individual introspection you can see for yourself. And as Hema said, we should not go with connecting with any people with any intention of getting something from them. The first is to do that. And this is a nice picture. If we had more time, we would have did some time. But if you look at this picture, there are two you will see some thing hidden between it. It's a cigar that is there in between the bricks. And I've told you that this is a cigar now. Yeah. And if I now tell you, look at the next picture without cigar, no matter how much you try, you will not be able to take cigar out of your picture, no matter how much I tell you. And this is what I want to share with you, is that the moment I think the other party knows that you are coming with an intention of asking for help or getting something, they will not connect with you anymore. It will like the cigar that they are seeing in your mind, that Patanjali is coming for help. I will not further talk to them. So can I start building a contribution mindset, which means that I am there to contribute first and not really take something from them. If I were to do that and to contribute first, can I really activate my network? Can I activate my network to help in whatever form? So, you can look at references, you can look at people whom you have worked with in the past and start, activating your network. And I think one of the areas that we will go further down is that when we look at, networking and, activating our network, many a times, we should look at network from a very holistic angle of what is my network from many areas of my life. So I've got network with the spiritual, area, or my career, or my hobbies, or my personal growth, or my health. So am I doing that part? So am I looking at my network from all angles? So imagine now where we started at 4 o'clock. We just thought, I think maybe networking is just about going to LinkedIn and putting some post to this deeper reflection about self, and and nurturing your network. How does the network in different parts of your life show up? So then you can do this exercise yourself at home. You can think, in each of these dimensions, that how are my dimensions showing up for yourself. And finally we come to the end, I think, which is essentially the nurturing part of the network. And if you start really working with them, and so we are not saying that social media that we have today are of not to be considered. I mean, surely we have to look at LinkedIn, we have to look at Facebook, no doubt about it. But the question is, what is my starting point? Am I trying to connect with people, or am I just trying to network with people? So use the platform. So instead of starting the platform first, platform comes at the end, meaning after all that is done. So today my partner does, share something on LinkedIn with me, but then after I've connected, not before I've connected. So there are some additional slides also for you to just say that we are not ignoring that YouTube, WhatsApp, all that part. And you would have seen, like, we are also using everything that you are seeing here at Crossover, not denying that. But whoever we have worked together with or partner with have that all that you have seen in the past. And that the last slide is never stop networking. It's such a joy. It's like a chaska. Once you do that, it is like an ikigai for yourself. They are like medicine. And then whenever you go to a conference, you really have a very, very different approach to meeting people. You're not worried about anything. You're not taking any agenda for the meeting. You're just enjoying the conversation. And the more you enjoy, the more you get from people. The more you know the know-how, the more you want to know, and more you have the knowledge you share with other people. It's like a beautiful cycle. So you had 5:20. I know I did little bit of rapid fire, Nisha, just to make sure that we are getting some time for conversation. So we want to just give like 5-10 minutes for for you guys to share any thoughts, reflections, anything that you want to ask me and Nisha about networking, or your reflection about the entire session. How did you find it? I think all of you can turn on your camera and keep it on for like next 10 minutes so that we can see you, we can have conversation with you. We want to really help you guys, each of you, take advantage of this wonderful skill that all of us should learn, actually. Yeah. So thanks for turning on the camera.
It has been a great learning for me. I have attended this session for the first time. I have really enjoyed it.
Thank you, thank you.
Keep me in the loop.
Yeah. Vasudeva, coming from you with your seniority, we are really honored to have this comment from you.
I think seniority and maturity is both are different. I give more value to maturity than seniority.
I agree. But thanks that you got value. Yeah, Rajesh, thank you joining from California. We go a long way. I think maybe Rajesh and we are a good example of connecting and not networking. Because so much we have shared with each other. Years, like almost more than 15 years, we know each other. Yeah?
Lovely, very nice.
Yeah, loved Yogesh. Yeah, I think the key takeaway is not starting networking with an intent for an outcome, but starting networking just to know a person first.
Yes.
And then identifying opportunities of what problems that person is facing.
Yes.
So that find those opportunities to start helping and giving back.
Yes.
And then whatever problems you want to network for, from a long-term standpoint, that will be automatically taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Very nice. Yeah, Sony, any thoughts from your side? I can see you're very actively listening to all the conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, actually, it was wonderful session. I learned lots of things, especially Disha ma'am, because I met her first time in a Thai, and today I just see LinkedIn page and just I suddenly scroll down and seen that one meeting is going on network. So I thought, why not I join here to her to listen. So it's a wonderful session, and I think it's like networking is like just see so the video of like child who has no fear, like he was enjoying the journey. So we have to keep enjoying the journey to connect with the people, try to understand their perspective, their points of view. We don't have to put a whole time our point of view everywhere. Just try to listen the people, try to understand their point of view. So they automatically connect with you and they will learn from you. You can share each other's point of view. That's all. Thank you so much.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Sony. I'm glad. Yeah, so we do this, sessions, every month on an interesting topic, which, in a condensed form, we want you to take the model from this and, try practicing this. And Karthik is going to post the, WhatsApp joining link to all of you now. You can click that link and you can join that group. And Nisha is available for any support that you need as you are going to practice that, and ask her any question, ask me any question, and be the part of that group. It's a very nice group. Every Karthik also posts some very interesting articles, videos, and he's always available. And please do invite more and more people in this monthly webinar, so we get more leads from this webinar and we can help people. Yeah, I am so shamelessly asking you about leads also, but that is the intent also in the background, that more and people should know, because I think we do a lot of hard work in the background to get you this wonderful session. So it's not just the intent is not the intent is to create value for people. And no wonder that we have got so many people repeatedly coming every month. I have seen people coming every month, and I really want to thank. And we put in our best to get the session to you. Like last night, me and Nisha had a complete rehearsal about this session. Only thing is, I am fast driver sometimes. If Nisha is a more deeper facilitator, so you can talk to Nisha forever. But if I want to finish the session, she gives me the steering wheel so I can drive it much faster and come to close. Yeah, Padma, you had a question, please. Or you want to share?
A question. I just wanted to
please
thank both Yogesh and Nisha. It is really wonderful that, a topic which we have heard so many times, like networking, how deep we can really think about it. I think what was presented today was, demonstration of how deep we can take any topic and how we can understand it. I just wanted to add one point here, if I may, Yogesh, that, like in most cases, the initial part is tough, like establishing the first few connections are tough. But then, like Malcolm Gladwell says in this tipping point, when it reaches a certain critical mass, then it gets a life of its own. And it starts expanding so rapidly that, there's not so much of effort in making the 100th connection as you have for the first or second connection. So I just want to bring that point out, that
yes,
it starts spreading so rapidly.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And only thing, one of my point is that while most people keep just adding one after another connect on LinkedIn, so which is okay. I'm not denying we should not do that, but I think the whole idea also is to really make connection with people and some meaningful connection, and that really helps as whichever profession you are in, whether you're in business. And a lot of time people, sometimes they ask about the success of crossover, and I always feel that when Nisha first spoke to me, I didn't even know whether she will work with us, not work with us, but if she wants some help without any condition, I had said, okay, you can come, you can ask me anything. And today she is one of our top facilitators as possible. So you never know what will turn out future. But if it doesn't turn out, it's also still okay. Because you're not doing with that intent that, okay, because many times if I mentor somebody and they find value in that, at some point they refer us to somebody else. Because there is a principle of reciprocity that is there in every human being, and that kicks in. And you're not doing that for that sake, but in the process, you also become stronger because, and I tell that, even in mentoring, while Nisha might think that I'm giving her time and she'll feel obligated, but no, actually, when she asks me 10 questions, I also become stronger on whether I am actually doing what I am teaching to her. Yeah. So it's like a nice benefit to me to remind myself that I should actually practicing what we're doing. Yeah. So good. So we are at 5:30 now. I think 2 minutes more to go. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yogesh, I have one question still.
Yes.
See, I am 75. I am still thinking how any networking or connectivity will be without expectation. This is what you made the statement in the beginning.
Yes.
Networking and connectivity without expectation. I'm still to mull over that and then get over that probably.
Yes, yes. So, Vasudev sir, we are not saying that, like this person, I'm doing business for last 3 years. So I'm not saying that we will not do business or will not take any help from them. But I'm saying that the starting point should not be that. Because the moment you have the starting point with that intent, it is like that cigar.
There will be a barrier, yeah.
There will be a barrier. The cigar will not go out in the other person's mind. The moment cigar is there, he will not open up. If he doesn't open up, there is no partnership future.
I appreciate your thing, and let me try to mull over it and then get convinced.
Please,
yes.
Thank you so much. I'll see the forward to see you.
Thank you so much. It's quite revealing.
Yeah, so thank you everybody. I'll see you again next month. Yeah, and I think Karthik, you have sent the WhatsApp link, so I think people can join. Click on that and join the link. Before you guys log off, so you are part of the WhatsApp group. So you will never miss
the problem. I have given my mobile number.
Sure. Or you can, I think what Karthik can do also, he will send the same WhatsApp or email to all of you. You can also register from there. Yeah, no problem.
Please.
So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And
you should be great. Thankful to you, sir. It has been a wonderful day.
Oh my, thank you so much. Yeah. Yep. I'll see you again next month.
We're looking forward.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Namaskar.